might go straight to live now.
Okay. What?
We might immediately be live because of how YouTube works.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're live.
Oh, okay. Hi, guys.
I gotta get used to that.
Hey, do you have the OneNote file?
You emailed it to me.
I'll bring it up. We could just trade back and forth on my phone.
Yeah, that'd be good. Hey, everybody, it's me, Will.
Hi, guys. Me, Kristen.
We're doing a live episode of Guide to the Unknown, the final Guide to the Unknown of 2018, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
If you can believe it.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? Can you wrap your head around that?
Hope everybody had good holidays.
Yeah. Please do consider going ahead and sharing this video to get other people in here. I will be periodically getting more and more awake over the course of the evening.
That's right. Just let it happen naturally.
I think. What'd you send me?
Oh, well, I just pulled it up on my phone. I can just pass my phone to you when...
What do you think you called it in the email?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Listener. Search for listener.
Or OneNote. Shared. No, that's not great.
Search listener.
Right. Listener. Yeah, we're doing more of your scary stories tonight.
Yeah. To round out the year. Is that it? No.
This is so old.
Oh, wow.
What is this? Hey, can you just hit share on that again?
Oh,
Just send it to me, and that should be fine.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and share this in a couple of places to let people know that we are, in fact, live on the internet right now. For all I know, people can see us right this second.
Really?
Can they? Oh, my God.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, hey.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Everybody was surprises me.
I had my hair up in a ponytail all day, and when I took it down, it was doing this. I was happy with it, so thank you.
Right.
Oh, and you couldn't tell that it was pink, I feel, last time in the lighting.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Hey, everybody.
And your watch is getting a little love.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, look at this.
Damn.
Watch this. I can wake this sucker up.
Cool.
It's a smartwatch.
Somebody said Drew going to be on there. We are going to read a story that Drew submitted to us on the show tonight. That might be what you're referring to. I commented on Drew's Instagram and said his story was going to be up. It's us reading a story that he submitted to us.
There he is.
There
right
he
there.
is. There's the man.
Drew, there are a bunch of Drew heads in the chat.
People's looking for you. Jeez. It's a good intro.
Weird. I want to start this one off real weird.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the final Guide to the Unknown of 2018.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. We're going to be getting started in just a few minutes. We're going to take some time here at the top just to make sure that everything is working correctly and that people are able to join in and hang out.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and share this video in a couple of spots right this second. We'd really appreciate it if you would consider doing the same.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay.
All right.
So I just sent that to you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to share this over on Facebook. And, yeah. Everybody, why don't you post what's been going on with you the last few days in the chat? How were your holidays? What have you been doing for relaxation?
How have you been restoring?
Yeah, exactly. It's important to restore those cells.
Yes, absolutely.
Keep your mojo working.
Remember when Mom called Mo? Wait, did she call motivation Mo or Mojo Mo?
Yeah, she said
motivation.
Motivation, but she was like, it's really harshing my mo.
Yeah, and we were like, what?
Talking about Kristen and I are live right this second, recording one more GTTU for 2018. After this, we're in the future. 2019.
Yeah, that's right. Crazy.
I
like an odd number.
Do you?
Looking forward to 2019.
You've been unsatisfied with 2018 then?
Yeah. Not really doing it for me.
Fair enough.
Guys, one way you can restore that I've really been enjoying this week is that Britney Spears has been posting on her Instagram studio videos of her working on her choreography. Something that is so interesting to me, I'm sure it's interesting to you, is that she is so fluid in her studio rough choreography videos, and then if you see footage of her on tour, she's very mechanical. So I have a theory. Some people have been like, why can't Britney dance anymore? She obviously can dance. I posit she chooses not to. which is surprising. I think she might be saving her energy because a long concert is a marathon, not a sprint. While she's recording or, practicing in the studio, she can afford to expend that energy and take a break. She can't on stage. So while you would think she'd want to bring her A game on stage, not in the studio, I think that she thinks that a consistent C for 2 hours is better than a half an hour of A. Let me know what you think.
That's how I've run my entire life.
Yeah.
Straight C's.
Yeah.
And then just sometimes don't show up at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Do it. Hey guys, we're on youtube.com/talkbomb doing this week's live episode of Guide to the Unknown. It's part 2 of our listener stories, and you're going to find out who we give away the Dybbuk boxes to. Join us.
Who could it be?
Oh, I forgot it keeps going now.
I just held it.
Yes.
I just stayed in that energy.
Yep.
Just wrote it out.
All right, there we go.
That's a real thing in stand-up,
Yeah.
If you make the audience laugh, you have to just stay in your whatever energy you were previously in. So if your bit was about how you're a dumb schlub, while everyone's laughing, you have to just stand there like this.
Yeah.
For 5 seconds or however long.
Ugh.
Because if you break and you start
awful.
smiling,
Right.
everyone hates
It ruins
you.
the mood.
Yeah.
Totally.
Really neither here nor there. Just thought you might like to know.
Thank you. Audra, it was her knee. Amber, excuse me. Sorry, I was looking at the middle of your name. No, and a knee injury is apparently very serious, but go to her Instagram. You're going to look and be like, oh, she can dance like she used to. It's surprising. That's why I mention it.
She broke her knee?
Yeah, like a long time ago.
Like Nancy Kerrigan or whatever?
No. No.
What was it? What was her name?
Nancy Kerrigan.
I was right.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
No, just like a very long time ago, she broke her knee really badly, which is like a really serious, bad injury to recover from.
Yeah.
Maybe she also broke her hip after that, which would be horrible. But I know she broke her knee. And so that's a reason people give for why Britney's dancing isn't the same. But guys, it is the same. That's what I'm saying. It's just that she's not showing us on a regular basis. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I should cover that on Guides to the Unknown. Because she looks fantastic in rehearsal, and then,
She's like Luke Skywalker when he retired from using the Force. He still could.
Then yes.
But he chose not to.
I'm telling you.
Or Jerry Seinfeld when he beat a guy in a race and then he chose not to run ever again.
I choose not to run.
If that's more your speed.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yes.
Okay, I think we're
Yes,
in
you're
good
right.
shape
Gaga
here.
did break her hip. You're right. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. I just heard that Gaga got listed as like a monster or something for visiting the Dalai Lama. She's like banned from China or something now.
Really?
Yeah, something.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it happened like today.
I'll have to look it up. Weird.
Yeah. Also, I had a dream. I had a dream last night that I ran into somebody who listens to this show. And all they wanted to do was like get a picture with me or like take a video with me or something. And I kept screwing up my opening line and going like, all right, wait, well, let's just do it again. Let's just do it again.
We'll do it live.
Until they got sick of the experience of having met me and walked away.
It's really funny.
Have you ever considered that you might go out in public and somebody might recognize your face?
I've only considered it because my boss, Kara, has been recognized in public before. So I'm aware that people might recognize internet people. But it's never happened to me, and I don't anticipate it.
Do you think
it's happening in the context of my job with Boho Berry.
Okay.
Not just in the wilds, like at a planner convention. Like
Fair
a couple
enough.
people were like,
It's Kristen.
yeah.
Do you handle it well, do you think?
Probably not. I'm not
Really?
sure. Yeah, they're just like, ah.
Huh, okay.
I don't know. I mean, it seriously happened once, maybe twice.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I think I would freak out if somebody recognized me from this.
Yeah.
So if that's handling it well,
Specifically
freaking out
from
and
Guide
being,
to the Unknown.
Yes, I
Yeah.
would think that they're a celebrity for recognizing me. I'd be like, it's you recognize me? Oh my god!
Right,
it's
yeah.
you,
Yeah.
a listener, a real one. It would freak me out in the best
crazy.
way. Totally.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
So we're gonna pick these babies live.
Yeah, we got to do that on the show without a doubt. We're going to announce who's winning these.
I cut up a
crazy Dybbuk
lot
boxes.
of little names today, you guys.
Well, we have a lot of like crazy support from
Yeah, which is no, I'm not complaining. I'm saying
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Okay. Hey, I think we're in good shape to go.
Yeah.
I
Stage
want
fright
to
is also a good theory, Mel. I think she does get a little bit of stage fright. I think you're right.
hit this 2-second horror story right here.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So we'll do that. Why don't we do it this way?
Okay.
Launch into the show, 2-sentence horror story, announce the winners, long-form listener stories.
Yep.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So then, yeah, I think we're good. Thank you all once again for hanging out with us. Maybe your story is going to make it on the air tonight. I think in your own good time, Kristen. Although, you know what we never did? We never did 5 seconds of silence, which I'm really going to need.
Yes.
So let me do this. And then just give me 5 seconds of silence before you open the show. But yeah, other than that, you're good.
Okay. Hello, welcome to Guides to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
I'm William.
And we're back with round 2 of your listener stories to bring us out to the end of 2018.
That's right. This is the end of the year, the final time that we will all be convening during this journey round the sun.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It's a bit of a listener appreciation thing. Thank you guys so much for an awesome 2018.
Absolutely. Knocking things over immediately. So before we get to the listener stories, we have a couple of bits of business.
Yep.
First is one of my favorites that we do, and we so seldom get to do it.
That's right.
It's time for a 2-sentence horror story. So we record this show live every week on youtube.com/talkbomb. And in the chat just now, Eric submitted a story, as he frequently does.
Yes, he does.
And so why don't we check this puppy out?
All right.
With a shake of my head, I brushed a bit of dust off the top shelf. After hearing the
Will read that wrong.
I tried to improvise a line.
I know.
Eric, I tried to add to it.
He was trying to punch it up.
All right, here we go.
You should be insulted.
With a shake of my head, I brushed a bit of dust off the shelf after hearing the visitors on their approach. While I hoped they wouldn't be too disappointed, what could they expect from a mausoleum?
Ooh. Very good, Eric. Very good.
Very good indeed. You think you have an idea of where you are, and you find out you're an idiot, and you're in a mausoleum the whole time. That was great. That was great.
You know, we didn't end up doing it, but our dad always said that when he died, he wanted to be buried in, well, you know, entombed in a mausoleum. How can I describe this for just audio? With his hands clasped together and his chin resting on his hands, lying on his stomach, like, hi.
Like precociously.
Yeah.
It's like a Hummel figure of some sort. Yeah.
We defied his wishes, but I think he understands.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. And now it's time to announce the winners of the Dybbuk Box contest.
That's right.
So very briefly, in case you were not aware, Kristen and I designed our own Dybbuk boxes, mostly just for fun and somewhat as a way of giving back to all the people who've supported us over the course of the past year. And so we're going to pick 2 names out of a bag here of people that have shared Guide to the Unknown on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and people who have supported us on patreon.com/GTTU-pod.
Yep.
And so why don't we raffle off, here, Kristen, why don't we do yours first?
Okay.
Because I'm gonna break it
so you
the
can
more
stop.
I keep.
So I literally have a bag here of names that I cut out. It's nice and full, so thank you guys. And I'm just going to grab one. Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right,
Name number 1 for Kristen's Dybbuk box.
This goes to Rachel Walsh from our Patreon.
Hey.
Rachel, thank you so much for being a donor, and I'm so sorry to curse your home with this.
Yeah, guess what? You get to open this sucker up
and
discover the secret messages inside. We have not told you everything contained within.
No, not at all.
And now we're going to raffle off my Dybbuk box.
All right, William, get in there.
Here we go.
Shoot. Oh.
Diving right in. I want to get a good name down to the bottom.
Aggressive.
The best names are down below, as they always say.
Yeah.
I can't look. I got to get a strip of paper here. Am I holding just one?
Yes.
I can barely feel anything. I'm so cold.
It's not that bad.
Whoa. Hey, it's my buddy Matt Van Auken.
Amazing. Matt Van Auken, who's Will's friend from high school, that he's known since high school. I mean, we're all friends with him, and he's one of our Patreon donors.
It's like the fix was in.
Yeah.
Except if you watch this on YouTube, I couldn't tell what I was doing.
No.
Congratulations, Matt.
Amazing.
I'll be sending
and
this
again, sorry.
Horrific totem your way.
I hope your beautiful family will be okay.
Keep it out of your son's room.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We so appreciate all of our Patreon donors whose names were put in there a whole bunch of times. We so appreciate the people who shared the show to get entries. And we hope that even if you're not one of the people who won the boxes, you enjoyed hearing about them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And maybe the people who get these boxes will be able to share a little more about what they uncover.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, I would love that too. So there you have it. Okay.
Cool.
Let's move on to the listener stories and hear real paranormal experiences that you have had in your lives. Kristen, why don't you take the first one here?
All right. So this first one is from our friend Drew Hester, who is also entered for the Dybbuk boxes. I don't know why I just mentioned that.
You just wanted to point out that he lost.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know. Anyway. Drew's my friend, and I'm sorry you lost, Drew. But you won by getting us to read this story of your awesome experience that you sent us, which is, again, a win for us and not you.
Yeah.
Here it goes. Okay, so this is from Drew Hester. I've been a paranormal investigator for 20 years now. One late night, I was asked to help with a tour of the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. I think I've heard of that before, by the way.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
We had been seeing shadow figures the entire night until we made our way up to the floor where the children were kept. I was leading a group of 5 people to where we were to set up our equipment so we could perform a small investigation on this floor. As we were walking, I decided to talk to any spirits that might be around us. Knowing this was the children's ward, I talked very calmly and kid-friendly, telling them that my name is Drew, saying I wanted to play, and asking if anyone wanted to play with me. I did this all while we were still walking.
That feels like you're asking for trouble.
Well, but I think that if you're a paranormal investigator, it's not necessarily trouble. Like, he wants these things to interact with them. You know what I mean?
I guess it's just like, I guess what you're always trying to do is goad the spirits into some form of activity.
Yeah.
But I feel like...
Especially if they're, like, children who are, like, perhaps not well children. Maybe it's just kind of, like, inviting and friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I imagine him being like that. If he's being like, does anybody want to play with me? I don't think it's like Zach Bagans being like, does anybody want to play with me? Or, excuse me, does anybody want to play with me?
Yeah. But it still does have that vibe to it of don't invite a vampire in, you know? Does anyone here want to play with me?
But that's what he's
Play
supposed
is such an ambiguous term. There might be some sort of a horrific, you know, creature demon that's like, oh, yeah, I want to play.
I hear what you're saying, but he's a paranormal investigator on a ghost tour.
Okay. All right.
So I think in this situation, it's right on the money. It'd be weird if he was like, everybody, leave me alone, just walking through the sanatorium.
That's what I would be doing. I guess that's really why that's my reaction.
Oh, God. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Okay, so he's walking, talking, asking if anybody wanted to come out and play. Suddenly, just in front of me, by what seemed to be a couple of feet, I heard a little girl say, I want my mommy. Needless to say, I stopped in my tracks along with everyone else. While we all just stood there, I simply asked if anyone had experienced anything. A lady behind me said she heard a little girl looking for her mommy. Others chimed in saying the same thing. So we had all heard the same thing. There were no children on this tour. It was an 18-plus event. To this day, I still cannot explain what we heard. With that said, when you're only walking by moonlight through one of the most haunted locations in the States and you hear a disembodied voice cry out to you in that way, it not only makes your heart jump, but it also pulls at your heartstrings.
Yeah, that is...
Yeah, it's sad.
It is sad.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can offer back.
Right. Yeah,
you know?
I want my mommy. Is that what it was? Yeah, like, what can you do? I know it's sad.
It's also such a pure request. It does also
Yeah.
make me think of the Patrick Swayze ghost thing where it's... You can only really interact with the world of the living if you have utmost focus and determination.
Yeah.
And to be calling out for your mother is, I guess, something that would get through. But
yeah, and maybe it's just like so primal and something that you have so much feeling behind. That's what would get through. Like maybe other things would be a little bit hollow, but I want my mommy because you do has oomph behind it, which is very sad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I also what a horrific thing though to be like, oh man, I feel like I just heard a little girl ask for her mommy.
Yeah.
Hey, did anyone else hear anything? And have them be like, yeah, no, I heard a girl ask for your mommy.
For their mommy.
Hearing that somebody else experienced the same thing as you, that probably would make my stomach drop.
Yes.
More than having heard it in the first place. Be
completely.
Like, all right, so I heard what I thought I heard. There's a ghost.
Well, that's like last week. I can't remember what the listener's name was, but one of the stories, somebody had a dream, and then their sister had the exact same dream.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So it's the same thing. Like, the dream is creepy in itself, but then to hear confirmation of the exact same thing, like, it's just kind of undeniable. You're like, how is this not weird?
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think that we have any sort of additional sensory abilities? Maybe not literally the sixth sense as it's portrayed in the movie where you can just see ghosts all the time.
Yeah.
But do you think that we're able to pick up on things that might defy our more concrete five senses?
Yeah, I do. I think that some people have it to greater degrees than other people, but I do think that. And I think that's something that you can cultivate, again, to a degree. I don't know if you can, and I mean, I literally don't know. Like,
Well,
but I think that if it's something that you like, I don't know, that it's something that you focus on and you're like actively open to and things like that, I think you probably can pick up on
When you say
weird
cultivate,
things.
what do you think? Like you can exercise it like a
Yeah,
muscle?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
just keep lifting weights and you'll get
Kind of.
stronger. Just keep yourself open to the spirits and maybe you'll be more consistently able to communicate.
Yeah, I do think that. But I also don't necessarily know or think that, like, I think that it could get really tricky where if you're actively cultivating that, which is cool and you should if you want to, then it could be hard to be, I mean, you could be thinking that everything is a message, is what I'm saying. Like, it'd be
Right.
hard to suss out, like, what is actually maybe some sort of communication and what is, like, wishful thinking or confirmation bias. Because obviously, if you are cultivating that and you're working on it, it's at the forefront of your mind. So you're more likely to see things that fit into what you want this thing to be, even if it's not actual.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it's I think you can, but I don't think that that means that, like, every single thing that seems to click is going to be you picking up on something else.
Well, that's also sort of the burden of trying to exercise that extrasensory muscle is being able to differentiate between your own personal confirmation bias,
Right.
i.e., like I'm looking for an answer,
Right.
in things that are just completely random and chaotic around me, versus when does it feel like I'm actually getting a signal? Like when am I actually picking up?
That's
on
what I'm
something?
saying. Yeah. What do you think?
I'm torn on it completely.
Yeah.
I think that we're so strong with fooling ourselves psychologically.
Yeah.
That I think even if you feel like you are not tricking yourself, you're tricking yourself.
You
know?
could be.
Like
I mean, the mind is insanely strong.
Yeah.
Which is amazing in itself. And so I almost think to a degree, like, if you feel like you're having that experience in some way and that makes you happy or something, like, I think that's fine.
Yeah. What's the difference between you believing that something is happening and the
Right.
thing actually happening?
Right.
It's
if you really
functionally
believe
minimal.
it, then it is very minimal. And if that, like, makes you feel good, that's probably what you want to get from that actually happening anyway. So the end result is the same. If it makes you feel good and connected, like, if you get that good and connected feeling, whether that came from actually you tapping into something extrasensory or your mind making you believe it, you still got there.
Yep, 100%. Totally agreed.
Yeah.
I think that's what people
think
get
it's
out of things like psychics, though. Because I don't think there's, like, an objective truth to that.
Yeah.
But I think objective truth is debatable in everything. Like,
Yeah.
there's, like, even the old thing of just being, like, what color is this Blair Witch video game cover?
Right, right.
We both agree that it's red.
Yeah.
But how do I know that my red and your red are
Exactly.
the same thing? Like,
Totally.
there's your version of red, my version of red, and there is the objective version of red, but you and I will never know what that is.
Yeah, nobody will.
No one will.
Yeah.
Exactly. The real world doesn't exist in a way, because none of us are seeing it. We're all seeing our own version of the world.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
Although Ryan and I were having almost this exact conversation like 2 nights ago or something while I was watching The Haunting of, unsurprisingly.
You only watch old, canceled, obscure cable shows.
Ideally.
That's all you watch. Kristen made me watch a show called Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction.
Oh, it's so good.
We've talked about it on the show
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
And it was wonderful. But it's this, like, 90s cable show with the corniest...
I don't think it's cable. I think it was on, like, Fox or something.
Wow.
No, seriously, it's not a weird cable show.
Well, then it's a weird
Well, it's just a
network
weird
It's
show.
just a
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
show. They're wonderful shows, but I feel like they're largely forgotten in time, except for you and your
Not
husband.
by me. Talk about being able to pick up on things that the naked eye doesn't see.
It's true, yeah. Yeah, Kristen has her own, like, if you ran your own network, the shows that would be on that schedule, it would be a wonderful channel, but it would be the weirdest lineup of all time.
It'd be that kind of stuff and, like, Housewives.
Oh,
It's quite a mix. It's a heady mix.
You need 2 channels then. You keep all the housewife stuff over there.
No, Chrissy Cast or whatever.
No. Oh, no.
Oh, but what I said to him, something like, I think that the most, I guess if we're talking about objective truth or whatever, that psychic that I went to in Connecticut who pulled Richard Robert.
Yeah.
That was so nutty.
It is crazy.
So that's the name of our dad who passed away 2 years ago. But how? There would be nothing for that woman to pick that up on. Now, to be fair, then she said stuff about him that made no sense. So I've said it on the show before, but just to recap, my theory on this situation. So it's a quick story. I had gone to like a metaphysical store in the town that we used to live in Connecticut. And I got a 15-minute like psychic reading, and it was like nothing was hitting or whatever. And then, and I was just kind of like yesing, and I was like, all right, I'm glad I only got the 15-minute one, not the 30-minute one, because just like whatever. And then she was like, who's Richard Robert? And I was like, ah, because that's our dad's first and middle name. Yeah. And I was like, my dad. And then she was like, did he like golfing? I see him on like really big green fields. And I was like, I mean, maybe he had like a lifestyle change up there or something, but like no. And I was like, we had a big lawn.
Was he mowing the lawn? Yeah. Was he teaching my younger brother how to mow the lawn?
So that he would have to do it from now on. But yeah, so my theory on that is my theory on a lot of these kinds of extrasensory things. I think it's not impossible, and I think it varies person by person, so it's not a hard and fast belief I have. But I wonder if there is like a radio station. It was all static for that woman for most of my reading. It's like not hitting. I'm just like, whatever. Then it got clear for a second, and Richard Robert pops through, and then it's static again. She's kind of grasping at things that don't work.
You're back to interpreting.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, no, I like that as a metaphor. First of all, it's very simple to imagine. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I believe in it.
Yeah.
I still have not gone to a psychic. Oh, no, I went to a psychic once. Mm-hmm. I went to a psychic one time when I was maybe 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, I don't remember a thing she said, which is probably telling. Mm-hmm. If it were particularly impactful or meaningful, I'm sure I'd remember it.
Yeah, I remember the rest of the things that woman said. Because if it doesn't click, then it's just kind of like, all right.
There's a spot here in town. It's a 10-minute walk away from us right now. We could get a $5 or $10 reading.
I went there, too. Ryan and I went there together, like when we first started dating. And I don't remember anything significant from it. But I remember I had a friend who lived here who was like very into that woman.
I've never seen anyone go into that.
I think it's because there's the front room and it's a back room that you go into for like a reading. Like
so that front room's just all dolled up and it's not even being used.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. So people go there. One of my friend's ex-boyfriends used to go very regularly. Yeah.
How frequently do you need to go?
I don't know.
Should I be making regular trips?
You know what? I don't know.
I swear, I'm going to go. Before the end of 2019, I'm going to go to a psychic.
Okay.
I want to get a full-blown reading.
Wow, you don't have long, William.
What?
You don't have long. Before the end of 2019.
I've got plenty of time.
Yeah. I was thinking 2018.
No, I set my goals in the long term because there's no way I'm doing it anytime soon.
Gotcha. No, that's realistic.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next story here. This is from Natalia Tchaikovsky. Mm-hmm. All right. To begin, it's important for context to understand that I was raised in a religious household. The concept of demons has always been very real to me. As a child, my mother told me that ghosts could not be real because God would not allow a soul to escape either heaven or hell. Why would you want to escape heaven?
Yeah.
And even just the word escape.
To go wreak havoc
Fair
on the
enough.
upper realms.
But even the word escape implies some sort of ill intent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or that something bad
is
happening.
To say you're escaping from something bad.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heaven.
I need to escape heaven.
She also told me that demons do not play by those rules because they were never children of God, but always a part of Satan. I live in Toronto, but as a child I lived in Prague, Czech Republic. My grandmother was visiting, so she took mine and my sister's room, while us kids slept in the basement. Creepiest of all parts of the house.
Yeah.
I love.
I was about to say you used to sleep in the basement all the time.
Love a basement.
Yeah, love a basement.
My sister and I slept in the same bed as children, and I distinctly remember the attic door in the ceiling of our room. We lived in a big old house, which was the property of the embassy. Oh. It was so old, it had a bomb shelter in the yard.
Wow.
And a servant's quarters.
Wow.
After my sister and I had gone to bed, the adults were all drinking and talking upstairs in the sitting room. My mother went to the kitchen for more wine and watched me walk past the kitchen doorway. Confused, she went out into the hall and called for me, "Natalia, why are you out of bed? Do you need something, sweetheart?" I didn't answer. I walked down the hall into my room. For some reason, the attic stairs were down. This was unusual because we never went into the attic.
That's creepy.
My mother watched me walk up the attic stairs. She did not follow me.
Don't blame her.
Confused and nervous, my mother went downstairs to check on my sister. Both my sister and I were asleep in our beds. Not only that, but I was wearing a onesie. But the attic girl had been wearing a nightgown. Attic girl is now in quotes.
I was about to say, the attic girl. That's a great name for a scary thing.
The attic girl.
Bent neck lady, attic girl.
My mother was terrified. She stayed by our side that night and had the house blessed by a priest the next day. That was just one of my doppelganger stories. For some reason, I have encountered doppelgangers several times in my life. If you'd like to hear more, let me know. Natalia, I would like to hear more.
To say I feel confident in speaking for William, even though I don't have to now, in saying, let us know.
I would love to know more.
Yeah.
Doppelgangers, we found out way back in the beginning, I feel like, that doppelgangers are like banshees, a form of omen.
Yep.
Something bad is on the horizon.
Yes, it'd be interesting to hear, like, I don't know, if there was anything notable in life after this attic girl showed up.
Yeah, so Natalia, if and when you hear this episode, try to think back to this event, and was there anything else, or these other times that you encountered doppelgangers, where something bad happened not long thereafter, or anything like that, really?
Yeah.
Doppelgangers. So the attic girl is now known as a secondary being. It's not her. She's asleep with her sister downstairs.
Right.
But I wonder, and this is not something that you can answer for me, I'm just sort of thinking out loud. I wonder if the attic girl, in the form of a doppelganger, looked literally the same as Natalia, or if it's just her mother being like, well, there's another little girl
you're like
here,
assuming,
approximately the same age or whatever. And so
yeah,
like,
and you're not
glance,
expecting to see anybody but Natalia or her sister in the house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 So is it the same person or a different, like a copy of a copy of you, or is it another entity?
Who knows?
Doing a bad job of mimicking, because she was
wearing a nightgown. She's not wearing the right nightgown. Natalia was wearing a onesie, attic girl, a onesie.
You got to get with it. Maybe it was a brand new doppelganger.
Maybe. She got yelled at.
It's her first night doppelganging.
Yeah.
Satan was like,
I've got to talk to you about this. I was reviewing the tape. You screwed it up.
You're wearing the wrong night clothes.
She should have followed you in the attic.
Satan is a little bit Harvey Fierstein-esque.
I got to call my lawyer.
Why can't I think of any lines from Mrs. Doubtfire right now? I'm blanking.
oh, I know why.
Help.
She's an old woman.
Oh my God. Wow. Good job. Okay. Good job. All right. Our next story comes to us from Andrew Benez. I'm not sure. William, is Andrew the person who sent us like an amazing care package with chocolate and stuff? Or was that Andy something different?
It was Andy.
Okay. That's Andy. And then a last name that I would know if I saw it with I think also a B.
Andy Bussey.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yep. I've got the little ghost face back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I ate all that chocolate.
I hope I'm not insulting anybody. Did Andy Bussey also send us the long story about a UFO?
Yeah,
okay,
so.
all right, okay, cool. Well, Andrew Benez, welcome to the fold of stories.
Yeah.
Sorry I mistook you just because of your initials. Okay, so this is a story called A Cowboy in White, he titled it. The 1970s in Texas. What a great time and place to be a teenager. The music, the clothes, and the partying. One of our favorite things to do at the time to get away from the parents was camping. There's a large lake west of Fort Worth called Possum Kingdom Lake. I forgot about looking this up before I started the story.
Possum Kingdom.
Yeah. It's that song by the Toadies.
The Toadies. Weird tie-in here.
Yeah.
This is very strange, but the first podcast that I ever did was a show called Will and Bobby Know Everything with my longtime writing partner, Bobby Kester. Love you, Bobby. And one of my favorite episodes we ever did of that show is an early episode called The Madness of Dr. Tanzler. A lot of people with the recent boom in true crime might be aware of this guy, Carl Tanzler, who claimed to have fallen in love with a woman who died of tuberculosis, and then he essentially preserved her body for 15 years in his home. We talked about it on Will and Bobby Know Everything before I ever heard about anybody else talk about it. And it was theorized that Possum Kingdom by the Toadies was either an admission by the lead singer of having committed murder most foul, or it was somewhat inspired by Dr. Carl Tanzler. Either way, the audio quality of that show is terrible. And I was stumbling a lot because I was drinking beer while we were recording. And our friend Cooper, when I was stumbling around, goes, "You have tuberculosis."
Oh, right.
Which I think is a wonderful joke.
It's a good joke.
I still think about it periodically. All right, I'm sorry. Just Possum Kingdom made me think about that. But there are some, I loved it when we had episodes of previous shows we did that were horror-themed.
Yeah.
It was all leading toward us having a show that was exclusively horror-themed.
Oh, totally. Well, like, the vast majority of Book Club Schmuck Club is horror books.
That's true.
It's like 90%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We just decided to make it exclusive.
Yeah.
But yeah, old catalog episodes of Talk Bomb podcasts.
Yeah.
If you find the horror ones, those are the ones that like I think are really crazy and fun.
Well, it's because it's what we like the most, so we get the most excited talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
It all tracks to this moment.
Sorry, just made me think.
No, it's fine. So there's a large lake west of Fort Worth called Possum Kingdom Lake. You've got to love the names Texans come up with. The lake is very deep and has a massive dam that lets out water once in a while. When it does, it's quite a sight. The lazy river comes alive. We found a day they were releasing water and planned a trip to camp below the spillway and watch the rushing water the next morning. My buddy Brad and I arrived a little later than we would have liked, hiked up the river in the dark about a half mile from the dam, and set up camp. The river was on one side and tall cliffs on the other, a natural canyon. Like most teenagers of the time, the evening was spent with a fire, beer, and other substances. Eventually the sleeping bags called, and we both settled down to sleep. I was anticipating seeing the water release the next morning. I awoke looking up to a beautiful sunrise cresting yellow through the trees. Once I oriented myself, I was startled by the very loud sound of rushing water. Jumping out of my sleeping bag, I walked over to the steep bank to see the water had risen almost to our campsite. Brad was still sleeping. I started to notice that everything felt a bit strange, the colors too vivid, the air thick and electric. It wasn't an unpleasant feeling, just unusual. Taking everything in, I looked up to the cliffs towering 150 feet above our campsite. The cliffs were lit with the bright yellow of the early morning sun. It was astoundingly beautiful. I was in awe of the surroundings. As I scanned the cliffs, right above me, a man on a horse rode up to the edge of the cliff. Not too strange, right? You are in Texas. But the man was dressed from head to toe in white cowboy hat all the way down to his boots. Oh, so...
You thought his cowboy hat went all the way to his boots? Is that what you thought?
Yeah, the way I said it was like that. White cowboy hat all the way down to his boots.
Oh, you know how, oh my God, you know how Natalia was wearing like the onesie? Yeah. This cowboy was wearing an all-white onesie that encompassed cowboy boots, pants, a shirt, and even wrapped up to his head to become a cowboy hat.
It all ties together. Maybe he was the boss bad guy in charge of that that doppelganger.
Howdy, partner. I'm completely entombed in my clothing. Good morning.
I'm not all right.
Wrapped up in the horse tail. They're all one piece.
That's me trying to fight with a fitted sheet on my blanket. No, that'd be the loose sheet. That'd be the top sheet.
That face when you're stuck in your sheets in bed. So we'll make a bunch of memes for us now.
Please. Do you use the top sheet?
No, hell no.
Useless. When you
that
get one
thing?
of those sets from Target or something, I'm forever donating a top sheet.
No.
Just don't put it in.
I don't like to be tucked. I don't like to be tucked neither.
Oh, hell no.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the man was dressed from head to toe in white cowboy hat, comma, all the way down to his boots, and I kid you not, the horse was white too. I was shocked at the sight. He didn't look at me, just stared into the distance. I woke Brad to make sure I wasn't dreaming, and he saw the same thing. The horseman stayed on the cliff edge for several minutes, both of us never taking our eyes off him. The rider eventually pulled back and was gone. We were baffled but excited by the sight. It seemed so out of place. After some coffee, we climbed up to the top of the cliff. We figured that maybe there was a horse event somewhere nearby the rider could have ridden in from. Upon arriving at the spot on the cliff where we saw the rider, we looked for horseshoe tracks. We found absolutely nothing. There was no sign of anything. Scanning the area, you could see at least a mile. Again, nothing. This is state park land. There are no homes for miles, and it's 6:30 in the morning. We made our way back to the campsite, confused but feeling very lucky to have been given the opportunity to see such an amazing sight. If you ever find yourself below the dam cliffs at Possum Kingdom Lake, look along the cliffs. A white horse and rider may be looking back.
Gut feeling.
Cool. Yeah.
Is this a positive encounter or?
I think positive. It seems like you thought it was like cool and weird.
No, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Like
for
do we think
Andrew,
that? Do we think that the horseman was a positive man?
Yeah, is the white cowboy. It does feel.
It feels fine.
Yeah, it feels like some sort of a protector or watcher or taking care of the lands or watching out for people who reside on them.
It seems like they might have just kind of intruded on something they weren't supposed to see, but not in a bad way.
Not in a
like
bad way.
The horseman was just kind of like looking off into the distance, watching over everything, and that was it. So yeah, I feel good feelings about the white horseman.
Everything the light touches is the positive.
Is the horses.
Is the horses. Well, they say
it all belongs to you, horsey.
According to David Lynch, and later stolen by Rob Zombie.
I was listening to the Halloweenies episode today about
Halloween 2.
I hadn't listened to Halloween 1 yet, so I listened to all of that, and I just started 2 right before I came here.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the rest of it.
Oh my God! But the white horse is a sign of pent-up rage and aggression.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like in this case.
No, it seems like it's kind of purity and strength.
I do like the idea. I've always wondered about, Andrew mentions in there saying there were no houses or neighbors or, whatever for miles and miles and miles. I have a major curiosity about whether or not there are, if you look out into the forest or, this is so goofy.
Yeah.
There is by us on Route 1 here in New Jersey. There are shops built all along it. There's no land left untouched, essentially.
Yeah.
Except if you're taking like a jug handle to make a turn, there might be a little patch of dense woods. I have to imagine that those woods can't be more than like a mile deep or something. It's
I wouldn't
very
think.
small.
Yeah.
But I was turning and it was pitch black outside, so I could only see as far as my headlights would show me into this teeny tiny patch of woods. And I had the same feeling that I do every time I look at a broad stretch of land or an abandoned gas station or something. I always think, is there a person in there?
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And why would they be?
Right.
There's not a great
why
reason.
Why wouldn't they be?
But exactly, why wouldn't they
be?
And so even with
because I'm sure there's some person who's like, nobody's going to go there, so I'll go there.
I'll go there. That will be mine.
Right.
That belongs to me or something.
Yeah, totally.
So even with the Possum Kingdom, you have to imagine that at all times of day, there are these people who are, for some unknown reason, known only to them at least, living there, surveying the lands, taking it upon themselves to ride about.
Right.
Dirtying
their horse whites.
Right. Because there's nothing to say that that was not a human necessarily.
Totally.
Even though you don't find the tracks and all that type of thing. But yeah, I guess I was just thinking about that there might be just a random person who lives off the grid, who's outside of what we might consider conventional society.
Right.
And who knows what they're really up to.
Right. Again, always nervous about that in the woods by my old apartment.
Yeah.
With good reason.
Oh, with damn good reason, yeah.
But still.
Might be like a trap spider person there who like dug a hole for themselves and they have like a cover. They just wait for people to come along.
Was I listing on the show recently all the scary things that happened there or just to somebody else?
I think you did it on the show at one point because you were like apologizing to Mom for having to hear these scary things that happened to you.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. Yeah.
Real terrifying. If you live by the Rutgers Ecological Preserve in New Jersey,
watch your ass.
Or why did you do all of that? It had to have been someone.
Why have you been taunting me?
Yeah.
You know what I remembered to add on? It's totally natural, but it's scary, and when you add it to everything else that happened there, I don't think about that often because whatever. But like the first week that we moved there, when I was taking Crohn's for a walk back there was some, I hate to say it, there was some animal that looked like it had been burnt.
Oh.
That he didn't touch, thank God.
Yeah.
But he was starting to nose toward this thing, and then I was like, ah! And it just looked like burnt skin on something, and I like ran away. What was going on?
God, Kristen.
I know.
When's the last time you've gone into those woods?
I go kind of regularly, probably like a month.
Stop going there.
It's so convenient is the thing. They're right there.
That might have been your skin
No, it was like a cat or a small animal.
Like in another timeline or something. You know what I mean?
My skin draped onto the skeleton of a cat or a small animal.
Yes.
By some sick tootie.
Well, it's probably you trying to turn yourself into a cat.
Maybe me trying to warn myself in the past. Be like, these woods are freaky. You just can't cross a burnt animal.
Yeah, the Blair Witch's woods.
And there are like 100 iron nails sticking out of a tree right behind your back door.
Oh, man. Did you ever take a picture of that?
I did, and it's on an old phone. I have to find it.
Well, the next time you go, if you come back out, maybe you'll be able to show me a photograph.
You don't remember seeing that?
No.
God. Okay. Anyway.
No. God, no. I only went walking with you a few times in there.
No, that was directly behind our apartment. Like, you could see that from the back window of my apartment, like from the kitchen.
Oh, maybe that was a message for you then. They knew you'd be able to see it from your window.
It was ringing the tree. Just tons of nails sticking out in like the tree is wearing a necklace of nails that's like a few inches thick.
Man, the things that people do, huh?
And there was like either a demon face or a Batman face carved into another tree.
You know, there's somebody out there who's doing the ring of nails around the tree. And somebody's going like, where are you going, Ned? He's like, oh, I got to go put more nails in the tree. Like,
well,
for him, it's completely reasonable. You know,
iron
like,
is
like,
supposed to be...
Oh, crap. Is it 7:48 already? I got to get outside and put another nail in that tree.
Iron nails are supposed to be protective from evil things.
Well...
Didn't work.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're hounded every day of your life while you live there. And you still go back.
It's the nicest woods that are so close by. It takes like 5 minutes to get there.
I
usually go to a different part of it.
I'm not sure if there are any nice woods.
Well.
I was going to say, I bet you could find an alternative. I bet there's other freaky stuff happening there. Listen, I love the woods.
I know.
I wrote a whole show about how scary the woods are.
I know.
Because I love them.
You love them, Blackwood.
But there are some human monsters running about.
Big time.
in those trees. Yeah. All right, next story.
Yeah.
All right, this is from a good friend of ours who's in the
Yes.
chat right this second, Amber. Mm-hmm. Amber, this is your story. I've been meaning to type this up for you guys forever, basically since I started listening. I have had a lot of pretty eerie experiences growing up, but most of them happened to me secondhand. Without getting too personal, my mom was psychic. So growing up, I either heard a lot of stories or was around when a lot of spooky things happened. Her side of the family comes from a long line of practicing witches, which I can trace back at least 150 years, and I have inherited some pretty cool trinkets along the way, like a cauldron from my great-great-grandmother and a Ouija board that is so old I don't even know how to date it, but I keep it in a closet in a room I don't go in because my mom has told me some stories about that thing. For the most part, however, nothing demonic has happened to me. Had happened to me up until I was about 18, and I started babysitting for a family across the street from me. I had grown up in Detroit, but in my senior year of high school, I moved out to the country, which was a culture shock, to say the least. I started babysitting for a family, for anonymity. Let's call them the Holmeses. Mm-hmm. For the first year, I babysat every Sunday night, and the Holmeses would bring the kids over to the grandparents' house, who lived across the street from me. After I got my license, however, I started driving over to their house, and that is where things got a bit creepy. The drive over was quick during the day. Maybe...
What?
What was that?
I don't know.
Did you do something?
I don't know.
Can people hear us?
Did you guys just hear a noise?
They may have heard it just come through the mics.
Okay. Is everything okay?
Yeah, should be.
Like recording-wise and everything?
I mean, it looks like we're still going.
Okay, all right. This
Waiting.
thing says... Does this always say connecting?
All right. Just unplug it to it
Okay.
in case that was the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
You heard it, but
You heard-
that means you can still hear us then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I think I put my elbow down and maybe I like did something.
Maybe.
Okay.
This is the very recorder we used to record the first ever Will and Bobby Know Everything. This recorded that Dr. Tansler episode, and I've held on to it, and I'm using it to record a new project that I'm not allowed to talk about yet.
That's right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. All right, here we go.
Hang on. Let me help you in the editing bay.
Oh, thank you. Why, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, here we go. I'll just start at the top of that paragraph. Mm-hmm. The drive over was quick during the day, maybe 7 to 10 minutes tops, down a road that was a bit winding at night. That road, no matter the weather, seemed to fog, and was a magnet for all sorts of wildlife from deer to coyote. It also seemed to stretch, which sounded crazy at the time and now, more than 10 years later. And it sounds even crazier when I say it. I drove down that road with other people too, my parents, a friend, and they swore the same thing. That road seemed longer at night.
I love that.
The kids, a boy and a girl, were so well behaved at their grandparents' house, but the boy would not stay in his bed at home, and the girl would act out and swear she wasn't doing it. Things would break, go missing, etc., and it was, quote, her imaginary friend that was to blame, never her. Her parents had warned me about this beforehand, however, so I was prepared. In general, the house just had a creepy vibe to it. It was on a large plot of land with a big barn behind it and a very long, winding gravel driveway. If anyone drove up to the house while I was there, I would hear them. One week, the family went on vacation, and I got paid a nice sum to house sit.
Nice.
Especially for a kid straight out of high school. I got a week to myself to watch TV, order pizza, and work on creative writing and play video games with the family's 2 dogs, Spike and Snowball. I was really excited. The first day when I got over there, however, I had the overwhelming feeling I was not alone. I felt like someone was in the basement. Again, I can't describe it without sounding crazy, but I felt like there was a child in the basement hiding, and she was scared. There was no way I could have known that. I tried to shake it off and play on the computer, but the longer I sat on the computer, the more I felt someone was behind me. I ended up going to watch TV. The TV room actually didn't have as heavy a feeling to it. Later, I actually found out the family room with the TV in it was a new addition to the house that had been built by the family I babysat for.
Man.
It's essentially like immune from the madness, I guess. Like the ghosts can't find it because
Right.
it's not supposed to be there.
Right. Yeah, like it doesn't exist to them,
Yeah.
maybe, or
they
something.
only
It's
see
not,
the house as it was,
Right.
not as it is.
It's not part of their blueprint.
No.
It's cool.
That's very cool. I
Yeah.
like that a lot. By far the worst part about the house was the hallway leading to the bedrooms. The house was a ranch style, 1 floor, with 1 long hall leading to all the bedrooms and bathrooms, with the master bedroom at the end, where I was staying. Even with all the lights on, it felt impossibly long and dark. The next day I took a shower with the door closed in the bathroom inside the master bedroom. Sometime inside the shower, the door to the bathroom opened. I felt like someone was watching me. That's one of my worst fears.
Yeah, I know.
Right there. In the bedroom, I constantly felt like someone was watching me from the closet. My mind was plagued with thoughts that I should kill myself. I invited a friend over to spend the night. We ate ice cream and watched movies. While we were eating ice cream, our spoons went missing.
Wait, from like your hand?
Did you eat your
From
spoon?
your mouth?
I think you ate your spoon.
Listen, I get carried away sometimes when I'm watching TV and eating
Yeah.
ice cream. You know how that thing, like, you're going, and all of a sudden you're hitting the bottom of the ice cream thing. You can't believe you got there? What if that happened, I posit, but it's your spoon you can't believe is missing?
My goodness. My goodness.
You ate it.
All I
No.
know is I frequently have to remind Allie that Monster has been making all of our ice cream disappear, and it has nothing to do with me.
But what of the spoons?
The spoons have all been devoured as well. After I took my friend home, things got worse at the house, like I had angered whatever was there by bringing someone else over. The next morning when I woke up, I saw part of a man in the doorway.
Oh my God. Wait, before we proceed, just real time from Amber. We don't usually look at the chat and talk about it in the podcast version because we don't want it to be confusing or annoying or anything. But Amber has offered some clarification. She said, we went to the other room. When we came back, the spoons were gone.
Okay. Yeah, it's not
Okay.
like you went in for another scoop and you
Whoa!
came up empty.
There's just like the bloop of ice cream that you scooped up with the spoon just floating in front of your face.
Or a metallic blue wisp of air.
You would think that you'd be scared, but I would prioritize the ice cream in that case. I would just into it midair.
Oh.
All right, anyways, say that sentence over again if you don't mind about the
Oh, sure.
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The next morning when I woke up, I saw part of a man in the doorway.
Oof.
He was wearing a suit, like from the 1950s, but from the waist down, faded from view. When I saw him, he turned and walked away. He felt angry. I immediately put the blankets over my head. I knew no one else was in the house. I would have heard them coming up that long driveway. When I took the blankets off my head, there was something standing at the side of the bed that I can only describe as looking like a ring wraith or a dementor, but partially see-through. I had never been so terrified in all my life. I couldn't tell myself it wasn't real because I could see it. It reached out a decayed, bony hand and touched my temple.
Ugh. Why is that worse? Or not worse, but just bad, of all spots.
Yeah, because it feels like it's doing something to your brain.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And also it's just kind of like, it's just a particular spot on your head. You know what I mean?
It's
like
a weak, it's like a weak
It's a
point.
sensitive point. Yeah.
It's a structural weak spot in the human skull.
Structural weak point. But feels great when people rub it. Probably not this Dementor.
Yeah, probably not the Dementor, unless it was very soothing.
Yeah.
This Dementor reached out and
Doesn't
just lightly
sound like
massaged. Give me a little scalp massage.
I don't want to ask for trouble, but I'm just saying that sounds pretty good to me.
No, it for sure feels like this Dementor was putting something into or taking something out of her brain.
Yeah.
Good God.
Oh. I'm glad we know her. We know she's okay.
Yeah, true. When it did, I got the most head-splitting migraine I have ever gotten in my life. And since then, I have gotten migraines fairly regularly. What I saw in that room was not of this world, and it was very unhappy with me. I immediately ran from the bedroom and went home. Whatever it was seemed to have invaded my head. Whenever I wasn't with my friends and family, all my thoughts were that they were dead, and I was never going to see them again. When I finally saw my mom, I told her what happened. My dad, who was fairly skeptical of all this stuff, ended up returning to the house with me, as did my mom, who got holy water and blessed the house. My dad helped me take care of the dogs until the family returned. I did not tell the family what happened there and stopped babysitting at that house, though I did find a couple of things that gave me the chills. The mom of the family had told me that mutilated cats kept showing up in their barn. It could have been the work of a coyote, I guess, but after what I experienced there, it just seemed really weird.
Yeah, I would definitely I mean, it'd be weird anyway, but just in the context of, like, scary experiences there, that definitely puts a different light on it. That's unsettling.
Yeah. I also found out that one of the previous owners of the house had been struck by a car and killed in that creepy road. Obviously, I can't confirm anything, but I think it's him that haunts the property, and I think he is a terrible person. I don't know if the Grim Reaper-esque figure that touched my head is him as well, or something that was dug up during construction of the house, since the whole town was built on forests, swamps, and had once heavily populated by Native Americans.
Wow. What a story.
That's a hell of a thing.
Oh, man, Amber.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened to you, and thank you for sharing it with us.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It's terrible and amazing.
Yeah.
You get migraines.
Yeah.
Have you been touched by
the devilish one? I don't know. Not that I remember. I guess so, apparently.
Yeah.
Not that I haven't had an experience like that, but yeah.
I haven't had a migraine in 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know when the last one I had was. I don't get them as much as I used to, but yeah.
It is.
I used to get frequent, like, if not migraines, just regular headaches, like, constantly.
Yeah.
And CBD has really helped me in that regard.
Really?
Like crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah, for me, I think it was dehydration and not sleeping.
That'll do it.
I'm certainly not a good sleeper now, but I especially. I used to get like 3 or 4 hours
I know,
of
you used to,
sleep
like,
a
never
night.
sleep.
Yeah. I used to get migraines all the time.
Yeah.
What an odd thing to consider as an effect of encountering.
Right, a physical effect.
Yeah,
I feel like there are other stories of things like that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but like stories where somebody had an encounter and then their health like really declined in some way.
Oh, I know.
Thinner.
Demon House.
I curse you, Thinner.
Oh, God. I would take the thinner disease for a little bit. You just had to pass it on to a piece of pie? Give me the thinner disease for, I don't know, a couple weeks.
Wait, what? You have to pass on to a piece of pie? Is that what you said?
Put the thinner disease in a cake at the end of that?
I've actually never seen Thinner before.
Neither have I.
I just know the commercial. I curse you, Thinner.
Yeah, that should be like a health craze. You just got to make sure.
I think it is. It's like
pass it
flat
on.
tummy tea.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically the curse of Thinner.
right.
Or those lollipops that are weight loss or whatever. It's all messed up.
But no, in Demon House, there was that guy
That's right.
that took one step inside the house and then his his organs
shut down one by one, I think you said.
Like turning off the lights.
I think.
Like turning off each individual breaker on.
I think that's kind of what he said. He's like, yeah, started shutting them off one by one.
Well, it happened. He's like,
my organs turned off. My insides turned off.
The outsides are still on, but the insides have all turned off.
The lights are out.
Like footage of him lying down in a hospital bed, practically smiling, explaining how his heart is gone. Something because of the Demon House. Thanks, Zach Bagans.
It was amazing. Demon House was in the news today. Let's see. Okay. Demon House is going to be premiering on Travel Channel on New Year's Day. So if you guys haven't seen Demon House by renting it from iTunes or whatever, apparently you'll be able to watch it on the Travel Channel.
Let us know what you think.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a chat about it.
Absolutely.
I loved it.
But for sure, the idea of like a migraine also, like, did it give you the ocular hallucination kind of thing?
Kind of. Like I would have like flashes of light before it happened. Like one I can remember in particular was that I was driving and I thought that there was a glare from another car or something. I mean, maybe it was, but I don't think so now. And I just remembered it and I noticed it because I was like, meh.
Yeah.
And then I got to work, which is the worst timing ever. I was working at the salon by that point, which is like loud and like smelly of like hair, like nice smells, but you know what I mean? And it just like totally hit me. And I think that that glare was me having a little bit of like an aura sort of thing.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, big time visual problems.
Oh, really? That didn't happen to me a lot.
Oh,
or doesn't, whatever.
Like crazy. I would almost, I would be fascinated by it because I knew that there was essentially, I had like about 1 hour until the bomb in my head would go off and it would just be migraine city.
Yeah.
So like I would be seeing what essentially looks like, you know, like in a movie where somebody's watching like a film and the film burns out and like sizzles outward. It looks like that. And so I would just like sit at my desk at my old job and just like be calling over the wall to a person I used to work with and go like, hey, so now my vision's like I can like barely see anything.
Ugh.
What do you think I should do? Because I didn't feel bad yet.
Yeah. But it's coming. Yeah.
So it's like, I guess.
Kind of nice in a way.
I guess I'll finish whatever I can and see if I can drive the 45 minutes home fast enough.
Same. That was the thing. I worked also about 45 minutes away at the time. It sucked so bad. And I remember. I have a lot of specific memories of this migraine, apparently. I got pulled over on the way home.
Give him the cop some crazy eyes.
Yeah. No, the cop was like enjoying the hell out of himself. It was like this was like a long time ago. Like my car was still owned by like dad and stuff.
Yeah.
And he had gotten a notice that the registration was expired, but didn't do anything about it.
Right.
And like I didn't notice the sticker or whatever.
Right.
So the cop pulled me over, and I was like really sorry. I was like really feeling like crap. And he gets out of his car and comes over, and instead of being like license registration, he like walked to the front of the car and he's like walking back and forth, and he goes, 1 year. Well, 9 months. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
He was like, your registration expired 9 months ago or whatever. And I was like, oh, God, this guy's having a good time.
Yeah. Hey, Ponch, pull your head out of your ass. I got places to be.
I will say,
let's go.
He could have towed the car and he didn't. So, in
well.
a way, it was a nice move. But
look at what we have here.
He was making a meal out of this ticket. And it was like not the time for me.
So annoying.
It sucked so bad.
So annoying.
I know.
Oh, I hate migraines so much.
Oh, they're terrible. I don't have them as often as I used to, but I used to have headaches, just regular headaches, like almost every day.
Yeah. Oh, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
Maybe you did piss off a demon.
Maybe. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But it's been better for the last few months. So
yeah, because now you're friends with Puff the Magic Dragon.
Puff, puff, pass the medicine, man. Whatever. It is a blessing in my life. Oh, God.
Well, you know how I feel about that kind of thing.
Yeah, no.
Completely fine.
Yeah. Okay, so our next story is from Laura Gridley. So she says, my paranormal experience was when I was a child. Around the age of 8 to 10, a couple of nights a month, I would wake in the middle of the night to dark shadows standing at the foot of my bed. Of course, the first time this happened, I was freaked out and just pulled the covers over my head, and the next thing I knew, it was morning. This would happen a few times a month, and I became used to it, / convinced myself that it was my overactive imagination as a child, or my parents coming in to check on me. Though when I asked my parents about it one time, they said they had no idea what I was talking about. These figures, as I started to observe them in the brief moments they were there, were dark, almost hooded-looking figures. They never moved or spoke and appeared to just stand there with their hands clasped in front of them, observing me. I'd wake up to see them, even said hello on a few occasions, and would roll over and wake up to it being morning. In high school, I was telling one of my friends about this because we got on the topic of paranormal things, and she was amazed and said she had had very similar experiences. It stopped happening almost as suddenly as it had begun.
That's...
Yeah. So do you think her talking to her friend, it almost like outed it in some way where they're like, whoop, the jig is up,
Dispelled
and it stopped?
Maybe.
Because it seems strange that it stopped right after she spoke it out loud.
Yeah, I guess that's like robbing it of its power or something like that. But also, I mean, if its purpose was to observe her for whatever reason, maybe
the observation period was done.
Yeah, it got everything that it needed.
Yeah.
And it was time to move on. Yeah, I don't know. We've come across several creatures that do this kind of thing, that just like observe you.
The Hat Man.
Yep.
Shadow people of all ilk.
Yeah, this plays like perfectly into the shadow people.
Yeah.
Mythology.
Ugh, that's so freaky. I don't know what I would do if something like that happened to me. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? But like, it just sounds very, very scary.
I think it was more of a fear of mine when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
It feels so impossible to me now.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine myself in that scenario.
Right. I can't conceive of it. It's like horrifying.
Yeah, but I do think
I'd
that
be
was
freaked out like nobody's business.
a fear of mine as a kid.
Yeah.
And even just the whole idea of like asking your parents to turn on like a closet light or something like that. Because what if somebody's in the closet?
Yeah.
Or looking under the bed or something.
Yeah.
You're thinking of those things as like creeping around and hiding, but this is just some wispy figure standing and staring.
Right, like in full view of you. They're not trying to hide from you.
No. There's nothing you could do anyway.
No.
Why should they hide?
Right, exactly. What's the difference to them whether you see them or not?
Right.
So Will and Allie got Ryan and I this awesome setup of light bulbs for our house for Christmas, and we put them in like immediately, and we love them.
It's like smart bulbs.
Yep, they're the Philips Hue bulbs.
So you can change the color.
H-U-E, not H-U-G-H.
Do you have,
for all you Hue heads out there?
You Hugh Laurie. Do you have like a mood you've set?
We saved one color in the bedroom. But no, we've just been playing with different colors and stuff like that. But so now we have lights on more often than we would usually because we just enjoy having the colored lights where there would once be darkness.
Let's dial up that electricity bill.
I know, it's for real. But I love it. So we've had the hall light on a lot just because it's cool to have these colors. And Chloe, our cat's shadow, is now projecting onto the wall in like different sizes depending on where she is. So it's been a little bit freaky where I'll be watching TV and then I'm like, oh, what's that? And I realize it's a tail bopping by. But it's awesome, William. I love them so much.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a normal colored light in my house ever again.
Sweet.
No interest.
Why should there be?
Yeah.
No problemo. Yeah, I still think about periodically how midnight used to be something that I obsessed over as a kid. And I'll be working down here in the basement and realize that like it's like 12:07.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even paying attention when midnight happened.
Right, you didn't see it happen. I know.
And wonder, because like you can't see it on camera, but just on the other side of the computers and everything, there's like a scary half of the basement.
Yeah.
Where there's a closed door, but there are a few different ways that you can see through to it.
So weird.
And I'll periodically imagine.
It's the kind of thing you get used to because we're just like down here all the time. But if you like stop and think about it, what the hell?
It's very strange. Yeah, there's like a wall that separates two different sections of the basement.
Yeah.
But lower down, there's a completely open cutout of it.
Yep.
That just has sort of like lattice work.
Yeah, like a flimsy gate for the outside.
So right now I can see through the wall into the pitch black other half of the basement, and I will periodically just imagine looking up and seeing a face there or something like that.
Of course, you're only human.
Yeah. All right. And then I believe this is our final story.
Yeah.
Of the evening.
Yes, of the year.
Yeah, of 2018.
That's right.
And it's from Tracy Shirts. I went to a place in Ohio last week called Hocking Hills with a friend. He had rented a cabin for the week and invited me to come along. I had never been there before and thought, why not? Not only had I never been there before, I did not know there were so many ghost stories associated with the area. One night, we stepped outside the cabin after watching a movie. It was about 4 a.m.-ish. Up to this point, whenever we went outside, we hadn't really heard much except crickets and some obnoxious birds. this time was different. It was very different. We had been outside for about 10 minutes when we heard loud howling. Howling isn't even a good description for what we heard. It sounded like no animal that I had ever heard before. It was eerie, and it was off in the distance. We stayed outside for a bit longer to try and figure out what we were hearing, but I still have no clue what it was. The only thing I do know is that it sounded like it was moving closer.
That's a no for me, dog.
That might be the last and first Randy Jackson reference of 2018, too.
Oh, God.
Once we went back in the cabin, we couldn't hear it anymore, and eventually I was able to fall asleep. The next day, my friend told me that there were stories about Old Man's Cave and hearing howling dogs. The last full day of my adventure there, we went to Ash Cave. We got to the parking area and began the trail to get to the cave. I heard what sounded like drumming. It was like those big giant drums that you hear in an orchestra, but it was outside. I was just about to say something to my friend about there being an outdoor concert, but then the drumming stopped, and I never heard it again. It was a very short trail to the cave, and in no time did I pass anyone carrying any kind of drum. Later that night, while rummaging through the cabinets in the cabin, we found a book that had been left behind by a previous tenant. It was a local book written with stories about haunted Hocking Hills and the surrounding area. I read about the Native American drums that can be sometimes heard at Ash Cave, and the story of a park ranger that went searching for someone playing drums one night, never to find a trace of anyone. I asked my friend if he had heard anything that day. He admitted that he did not. Even later that night, just after 3 a.m., we were again outside the cabin, enjoying the last of our vacation. It was then that we both heard what sounded like a woman scream. We heard it 3 separate times and several minutes apart. There was a story about a barefoot woman in white that is said to also haunt Ash Cave. She has been seen hanging in the back on tours.
Oh, like maybe behind all the people doing a tour. You know what I mean? It's like a line
like
of
standing
people.
behind like a group of people.
That's what I think.
And will shush people that are too loud. But at night, people claim they have heard her screaming. I cannot confirm or deny that anything we heard or didn't hear was actually paranormal, but it definitely gave me a couple frights.
Ugh.
So there are, not to discredit, but because I actually also find this creepy, there are certain animals that sound like women screaming.
Once again, in the woods behind my old apartment. The screams of the fox could be heard.
Oh.
And they sound like a woman screaming bloody murder.
Oh, what a nightmare.
There was one time that I went to bed and the fox was screaming. Woke up in the middle of the night because Crumbs had a seizure and I had to walk him, and I went outside and it was still screaming.
Ugh.
Like hours later.
Ugh.
I was like, oh God, this is still going. What the hell? And it sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
So there are some natural explanations, but I don't find that much more comforting.
No,
is the thing,
that's
Tracy.
kind of my point. Is that
it's not better.
It's
really.
almost being a debunker.
Yeah,
but honestly, it's
not really.
Still horrible.
Yes.
Also, who's to say that there won't be some madman that's like, well, everybody around here is
I know.
used to the
Why don't I capitalize?
Screaming of the fox.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily kill someone here, and everyone will assume that it's an animal screaming and not a person.
They'll hear the scream of the fox. They'll think that it's crying wolf. Wait, what am I trying to say? You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that fox is not crying wolf. It's crying person.
You know.
It's screaming
like there'd
person.
be a real lady screaming, but people assume that it's a fox, so they'd say she's crying wolf.
And right.
Right?
Yeah.
Unclear.
Something cool like that.
Yeah.
Someone could probably say something cool like that, though.
Yeah, someone out there.
Yeah.
But that's a freaky story.
That is very freaky.
That sounds like you came back from vacation with some stories to tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that one to us.
Yeah, I recently had a cabin in the woods experience.
What?
I was out in L.A. I was working on something, and I was out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And there was.
You heard a woman screaming.
I did hear a woman screaming. Yeah, I'll be able to talk about that someday.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a famous woman, guys. Anyway.
Well, So I had to go track down a sound.
And she was fine, to be clear.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, I'm making a joke about their recording process. Nothing sinister happened.
Yeah, nothing sinister happened at all. No.
Because we know what we're talking about, but they may not.
Yeah, someday that's going to be a funny joke to all of you. But no, I had to go track down the source of a sound.
Yeah.
Because it was ruining. You can't have some ridiculous noise happen. It's going to ruin everything that you're trying to record.
Right.
So I was going to try to track it down, and I walked maybe like a quarter of a mile down the road.
Yeah.
We had rented. We had like 380 acres just to ourselves. That was the point. We were in the middle of nowhere to do this thing.
Right.
And so now I'm just kind of like walking down this dusty trail, and I see
just you and the road.
Yeah, and it sounded like a beeping from like some sort of a machine. But when I finally got there, it was like a little teeny mouse that just was able to make the most like god awful loud sound.
Ugh, was it just echoey because of the area or something?
No, it was like a sharp sound. It seriously sounded like beeping. It sounded like
weird.
Yeah, and like that was the problem. Is like it didn't sound natural.
Right.
Even though it was an animal.
It was,
making it.
Weird.
So I'm just strolling around. And now that I found it, I don't even know what to do. So I'm just standing there staring at this mouse.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Just trying to intimidate it with my face, I guess.
Be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I heard I heard something to my left. So I turned and looked. And I guess other people had rented other plots of land around us. And there was a nice family that was settling into some sort of an RV type situation. It'd be out in the middle of nowhere. And there was a kid that was like looking out at me like... Who's this stranger? I was the opposite of the man on the horse. I was a stranger clad all in black.
I would say all in black, yeah.
Having a staring contest with a mouse.
That's so weird.
Silently, about 15 feet away from where they had made camp. I had no idea they were there. And I made eye contact with the kid, and the mouse eventually ran away, and I just walked away. I just didn't say a word. I wonder if that kid's never going to forget me.
Yeah, maybe he's going to be submitting a story somewhere about that.
Anyway, this was originally supposed to be a point about how these like spots that are in the middle of nowhere, one, they're my dream. I love the idea of being out in the middle of the wilderness. But yeah, you have to then contend with
the wilderness
and myriad unknown factors.
Yeah, right.
Who the hell knows? The history of where you are, the actual truth. Again, like we were saying before, like the truth is malleable.
Yeah.
My version of the truth is different from your version of the truth, and both of those are different from what actually happened.
Right.
So even the stories that get passed down about that plot of land are one thing, but you don't know what has actually taken place where you are now spending your lovely vacation.
Right.
And so you don't know necessarily what might be there to get your attention, to seek its revenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give you a little digital mouse.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some sort of electronic mouse. Gumming up the works for me.
Yeah.
How dare you.
Getting in the way of production.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's it, you guys. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in stories. These were pooled over like a weirdly long, well, not weirdly long period of time, but a long period of time. Some of these you guys sent to us months and months and months ago. And thank you so much for them. Please continue to do that because we'll definitely do listener episodes here and there. So by all means, send us your scary stories anytime. And then when we have a listener episode, we'll definitely read them.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was really fun. Really fun way to end a year of stories of monsters and legends. This was a really nice way to cap things off. So thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for listening to us and hanging out with us all year. Part of why it was nice is that, like, you guys are a big part of the show. We wouldn't be doing the show without listeners. So it's nice to have you be a literal part of the show for these last 2 weeks and rounding out 2018. So thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, we're also, by the way, ending 2018. We just hit triple digits in number of reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
We have crossed over 100 reviews.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, 100 of you.
Yeah, like a handful of them are critical in any way. Like, we've got damn near 100 5-star reviews.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So thank you all so much. And thank you to everybody who has signed up for our Patreon.
Yep.
It's patreon.com/GTTU pod if you would like to join up. And congratulations to our winners of our Dybbuk boxes. We'll be sending these out soon so that you can get them in your homes and freak yourself out.
Right.
But that's it from us.
Yeah, that's it. Before the next episode, you can find us online at GTTU Pod everywhere. You can join our private Facebook group, which is really, really awesome. I really encourage you to do that so you can talk to other spooky people. So, like, even if you don't join the chats when we do the live shows, that's a cool way to talk to people who are other listeners of the show, just like whenever during the week. So if you go to facebook.com/groups/GTTU Pod, you can join us there.
Yeah, absolutely. You can also talk to Kristen and myself online if you would like.
Yep, I'm at Chillin' Kristen on Instagram.
I am at Haunted Sponge. So we will see you next week when we will begin a whole new year.
That's right.
Of freaky horror stories. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld go we. Bye.
And we're clear.
Bam.
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 There you go. That was fun.
That was great.
Yeah,
seriously, I love that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Sarah, I saw you say something before you go, or you might have gone. I think we read your story on our previous listener stories episode, like months and months ago, because we didn't read it this week or last week. And if you sent something, we read it. So I think it was from like a long time ago, just so you know. Yeah.
And thank you very much, Drew and Amber, for sending in those stories.
Yeah,
They were
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who sent in stories. I really loved them.
Yeah, they were super cool.
And thank you, Eric. I'm glad you thought it was fun.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that you all
Christy.
have a happy New Year's.
Yeah.
I hope that you're doing something fun, whether or not that might not even be waiting for the ball to drop. That might be sipping on some juice and falling asleep at 7:30 or something.
That sounds great.
Whatever you like to do.
No pressure.
You have a blast doing it.
Totally.
Yeah, and seriously, thank you so much. Other just sort of odd things that I tend to take note of. We are ending 2018 with our highest number of listens ever in the month of December.
Yay. That's awesome.
Which is just another cool sort of milestone.
That's a nice way to go out.
You know, we're an independent show. It's not like there's anybody that's counting on us to like get
deliver
better. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least it's just an indication to me of a few things. One, we were on the show American Hysteria just a couple of weeks ago
I think
with Chelsea Weber
we
Smith.
definitely, a bunch of people came over from that.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Which was super fun. And if you have not heard that episode or that show at all, you should absolutely go check it out.
So good. Like, our episode is good too, but like the show is so good. I love it. If you like us, I think you'll like the show.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But also, I really do think that that you who are listening to or watching this right now have like told people about us or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It has to be, because we don't do any advertising
No.
or anything like that.
We're just two dummies.
Yeah.
That are making it up as we go. So thank you so
Just a couple
much.
of kids.
And we are both really glad that you enjoy what we do.
Yeah,
And we really,
beyond.
really appreciate the support that you give us.
Completely. Like, I remember, it's just like such a far cry. Like, I was thinking about it today when I was cutting up the things for the Dick Box contest, and there were just like so many of them. And
So
I remember when we like first started podcasting, like however many years ago, and we were doing our old podcast, Book Club Schmuck Club, there was just like no interaction like whatsoever for like the majority of the time that we did that show. It started kicking in toward the end.
Yeah.
But like, we just didn't hear anything from anybody. And it was like, we had fun talking to each other, but I found that kind of disheartening. Like, I remember we would have talks like a bunch of times where I was just like, why are we doing this then? Like,
Right.
like, obviously we can see like number wise that some people are watching, but like, for all I know, that's a trick of the computer, because we don't talk to anybody. Like, I have no clue that anybody is hearing us or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so the opposite feeling and just so affirming and fun and stuff like that to like have you guys in these chats and in our Facebook group. Because seriously, our Facebook group has been so sweet with like you guys sharing memes and stuff. Like, there's just like a really nice community aspect that I appreciate so much. And it's so silly, but just like, even if your name wasn't in here, whatever, but it was just making me think. And it just like really drove it home today when I was cutting up like a million things. I was like, there are a lot of people who like listen to the show and like talk to us and talk to each other. And like, that's really cool. And it made me really happy.
Yeah. No, I'm completely with you. It's like, it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. And also something about it, like and this is not putting any judgment. Well, judgment wouldn't even be the word. Basically what I'm saying is like, again, I appreciate more than just our Patreon donors, but I couldn't help but think about it. Like, when I was going through the donor names and writing them, like, we don't have any rewards or anything for donors. It's just kind of like, if you want to support us because you like what we do, we would really appreciate that. And it's so nice that people have decided to do that.
Yeah, no,
you know?
It's true. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, especially like a lot of the other groups, at least that I follow online, are essentially companies.
Yeah.
You know, like it's their job to be making shows like this.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Making this show is not our job. This is what we do essentially in our free time. This is, you would almost call what we're doing a hobby, except I do feel like we run it like a job.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Sarah, no, Book Club Schmook Club was a blast. I'm talking about, like, it was like a pretty long run, and for like a good stretch of it, there was nothing. Toward the end, there totally was, and it was awesome. But for like a good stretch, it was just like nothing.
I wouldn't call it nothing. I feel like we did. Hey, listen, I've been podcasting.
Yeah.
I've been podcasting for coming up on either 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
7? Maybe coming up on 7.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about getting no feedback.
No, William, for a
Book
while
Club
we
Schmook
got
Club
none.
did not have no feedback.
Yes, it did. It totally did. It ended up getting feedback, but there was no feedback for a while because it was weird. I was just like, I feel silly. Like, why don't we just talk about it by ourselves at this point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder though if that's the experience that a lot of people have, because it's about it's about becoming consistent and reliable and building up. Like,
I totally think they do. It makes
is,
complete sense. I'm just saying it feels not good, and so I'm very much enjoying talking to people. That's all I'm saying. It's not abnormal or anything.
Right.
But just like I felt what it felt like to be working on something and not have a community around it. So I appreciate the community aspect because I have that.
That's without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah. But no, Sarah, you've been with us since the Book Club Schmook Club days. I super love talking to you. But there was a period of it where, like in the beginning, where there wasn't any community. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is true. But yeah, thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you. I'm rambling and probably taking back a compliment in some weird way, but thank you.
All right, everybody. I think we're going to split for now.
Thank you, Shay.
We will be back again soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, seriously, just thank you again. All of you have a good rest of the evening. Have a great New Year's. And we will see you in 2019.
That's right. See you on the other side.
Which is becoming closer and closer to feeling like a sci-fi number.
2020 is going to be wild.
2020.
2020.
2020. 1919. Do you think that people were like...
going nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. The 1-9ers.
Thanks, Elizabeth. That's awesome. Thank you. However you guys find us, rules.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Okay, everybody. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to take off.
All right.
All right, but we
Have
will
a really
talk to
good
you
night,
all
guys.
real soon.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.